Austria had 0 shots on target. 0 in a World Cup knockout game. Spain didn't just win. As he said, they made Austria invisible. Welcome back to World Goals. Today we're arguing one uncomfortable thesis. How Spain's suffocation system works, why Oyarzabal's goal was actually a mercy killing, and what this means for every team left in this tournament. Let's set the scene. SoFi Stadium. Knockout football. The pressure should be equal. One bad moment and you're on a plane home. Austria are no pushovers. They qualified, they showed up, they had a plan. And then Spain pressed the delete button. 10 shots on target for Spain, 0 for Austria, not 1. In 90 minutes of knockout football, Austria could not manufacture a single meaningful attempt on goal. That is not a defensive failure. That is a psychological and structural collapse. Spain didn't beat Austria, they absorbed them. Every time Austria tried to build, Spain's press closed the exits. Every time they tried to hold the ball, Spain's midfield had already anticipated the pass. This wasn't about individual brilliance in the first half. It was about a system so airtight that Austria couldn't even find the on-ramp to get into the game. The 10-0 shots on target stat is the most brutal number in this entire World Cup so far. And here's the thing nobody's saying. So, Austria didn't lose this game in the 36th minute. They lost it before kickoff. But that moment, it changed everything. Oyarzabal, 36 minutes. That goal didn't just put Spain ahead, it confirmed Austria's worst fear. They had survived 35 minutes of siege, stayed compact, stayed organized, told themselves they were still in it. And then the net moved. What happens to a side that has been defending for their lives and still concedes? Their entire defensive structure is built on belief. The belief that if you just hold on long enough, something will change. Oyarzabal took that belief and buried it. After the goal, Austria had to come out and attack. And the moment they came out, Spain, who were already dominant, had even more space to work with. The second and third goals weren't surprises. They were consequences. The scoreline was always going to get ugly once Austria were forced to open up. Here's what everyone missed, though. The goals weren't the story. The story was that Austria had no answer before the goals. If the score had been 0-0 at halftime, Austria still hadn't had a shot on target. They were already drowning before the goals pulled them under. So now the question becomes, if Austria couldn't land a single punch, who actually can? Because we're about to find out. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Spain are not just winning this World Cup. They are making it look like a training exercise. A 10-0 shots on target advantage in a knockout game is not a stat you produce against bad opposition by accident. That is elite-level control. That is a team operating at a different frequency to everyone else in the tournament. And that should terrify the team still standing. Because Spain aren't doing this with some transcendent superstar carrying them. They're doing it collectively. The system is the superstar. Oyarzabal gets the goal, gets the headlines. But he's one piece of a machine that has no obvious weak point right now. No gaps in the press, no softness in transition, no moments where you can breathe. In previous tournaments, Spain could be slowed down. Teams could sit deep, frustrate them, force them into mistakes. Austria tried. Austria had a proper go. And the final stat is 0. That tells you the gap is bigger now than it has been in years. If Spain continue to produce performances like this, the argument isn't whether they can win the World Cup. The argument is who, if anyone, is built to stop them. I genuinely don't have an answer to that right now. So here's the question. Is there a single team left in this World Cup capable of getting a shot on target against this Spain side? Drop your answer in the comments. Share this with anyone who still thinks Spain can be stopped, and subscribe to World Goals for more.